So let's talk about goosegrass. You've probably heard that name before, right? Maybe you think you know exactly what it is, that common weed you see all over the place. Well, what if I told you that name actually belongs to two totally different plants? And trust me, each one has a fascinating story.
All right, take a look at this. On the screen, we've got two plants that could not look more different from each other. Seriously. On one side, you've got this tough, low-growing, kind of scraggly grass, and on the other, a leafy, sprawling vine that seems to want to climb over everything. And yet, believe it or not, people call them both goosegrass. So, what's the deal? So, that brings us to the big question, the mystery we're going to unravel today. Which one of these is the real goosegrass? Or is there even a real one? Let's find out. Okay, to get to the bottom of this, let's meet our first contender. We're calling this one the survivor grass, but its official scientific name is Eleusine indica. And this plant is fascinating because it lives a total double life. I mean, depending on who you ask, you get two completely different answers. For a farmer, it's a nightmare, an aggressive weed that chokes out their crops. But for a traditional healer, it's a prized medicinal plant. How can one plant be both a pest and a treasure? And trust me, it's earned that survivor nickname. It's what's known as a C4 grass, which basically means it's built for tough, hot, dry conditions. It's so good at what it does that it's spread to over 60 countries around the world. You'll find it just about anywhere the ground has been disturbed, roadsides, building sites, and, yep, you guessed it, all over farm fields. So, what's its secret weapon? Well, it's all about the numbers. Get this. A single, solitary plant can pump out over 140,000 seeds. That is just a staggering number. It's no wonder it gets everywhere.
So what makes it so tough? Well, it's got a whole toolkit of survival superpowers. Inside its leaves, it has this special structure, Cran's anatomy for the science fans, and it uses that C4 photosynthesis we mentioned, which is like a super efficient solar panel for hot climates. Throw in a massive fibrous root system that holds on for dear life, and the fact that it's becoming more and more resistant to herbicides, yeah, you've got a plant that is seriously hard to get rid of.
But here's where the story takes a turn. This weed isn't just a pest. For centuries, it's been a staple in traditional medicine, used for everything from fevers to urinary tract infections. And now, modern science is starting to back this up, finding that it's packed with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds. People are even looking at it for something called phytoremediation, using it to literally pull toxic heavy metals out of the soil. So, a weed or a tiny little eco-warrior. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so that's plant number one, Eleusine indica. Now, let's meet the other goosegrass. This one is the clingy herb, and its scientific name is Galium aparine. Now, you might already know this one by its other common names, like cleavers or catchweed. And those names make perfect sense once you've touched it. The whole plant, stems, leaves, everything, is covered in these tiny little hooked hairs. It's like nature's Velcro. It'll stick to your clothes, your dog's fur, and it uses those hooks to climb its way up any other plants it can find. And just like our first plant, this one has a long, rich history in folk medicine. For ages, especially in Europe and North America, herbalists have raved about it. They called it a spring tonic, this idea that you'd make a tea from it to kind of cleanse and wake up your system after a long, heavy winter. So what was it used for exactly? Well, it's famous as a tonic for the lymphatic system, the body's drainage network. So it was often used for things like swollen glands. People also used it on their skin for conditions like psoriasis and eczema. And it's also a well-known diuretic, which just means it helps your body get rid of excess fluid. It was even a go-to remedy for tonsillitis, a real workhorse of the herbal world.
And guess what? People still use it today, most commonly just by making a simple tea. And it's so easy to do. You literally just grab a handful of the fresh plant, chop it up, pour some boiling water over it, and let it steep for 5 or 10 minutes. Then you just strain it out, and there you have it.
All right, so we've got the survivor grass and we've got the clingy herb. Two completely different plants, two completely different stories. It's time to bring it all together and finally solve this goosegrass mystery.
So why? Why in the world are they both called goosegrass? The answer is actually incredibly simple. It's because geese really, really like to eat them. Both of them. That's it. That's the only thing these two totally unrelated plants really have in common. And when you look at them side by side, it really hits you how different they are. They're not even remotely related.
The survivor grass is, well, in the grass family. But the clingy herb? Get this. It's in the coffee family. One's a tufted grass, one's a sticky vine. One's an agricultural pest, the other is a famous medicinal herb. They're worlds apart. And this whole thing is a perfect example of a really important point. Common names can be super confusing, right? Goosegrass could mean one thing to you and something completely different to someone else. And that's exactly why scientific names, those fancy Latin ones like Illusiana indica and Galium aparine, are so important. They act like a universal ID card for every single species on the planet. One name, one plant. No confusion. You know, we started this whole conversation calling these things weeds, but maybe that's just not the right way to look at it. There's this great quote from an osteopath named Nick Tafalos that I think sums it up perfectly. He said, "It's in your garden and it's in the hedgerows. Nature knows best." And that's such a great reminder, isn't it? That some of the most valuable things are growing right under our noses in places we've learned to ignore. So that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. What else have you written off as just a weed? What other amazing hidden stories are growing right there in your own backyard, just waiting to be discovered?